Boris Johnson is expected to compromise in crunch EU talks on fishing, according to an expert, a move which will likely enrage British fishermen. King's College London Professor of European Politics and Foreign Affairs and Director of UK in A Changing Europe, Anand Menon claimed Boris Johnson is set to compromise on fishing in the Brexit talks. During an interview with Express.co.uk, Professor Menon admitted the EU and UK were still unable to come to a clear and satisfying resolution to the fishing problem. He added the introduction of a fishing transition period could mean that UK fishermen cannot increase the amount of fish caught despite the end of the Brexit transition period. He also said that both sides wanted a future trading arrangement and both sides would have to compromise, in some areas, to ensure they can have a deal. Professor Menon said, "Yes, I think there will be compromises on both sides. The UK is still insisting it will not be bound directly by EU law, so the discussion on enforcement is key, and as far as I am aware is currently focusing on the ability of one side or the other to take retaliatory measures. I think with fishing, they are now talking about having a transition to a phase in new arrangements. So it might be, for instance, that British fishermen are not able to increase their catch straight away. The move would likely anger British fishermen, who were hoping to reclaim full access to UK waters at the end of the transition period." Professor Menon also reiterated the likelihood of compromise regarding the Brexit fishing debate. He said, "To get a deal on fish, both sides are going to have to compromise a bit. The EU is going to have to accept that if we are not a member state, then they cannot have the same sort of access to UK waters when we were a member state. Equally, I think the UK may have to grant them a degree of access." The British government has indicated that the UK should have yearly negotiations with the EU on fishing arrangements. The EU has resisted this idea and called for a much longer period of set fishing rules. In September, Lord David Frost, the chief Brexit negotiator, suggested a compromise of a transition period on fishing that could last for 3 years, but this was also declined by the EU. When asked about this idea, Lord Frost said, "Provided the endpoint is one that we wish to get to, there could be some glide path to get there. There are quite significant limits to what can be done there, because our fishermen are eager to grasp the opportunities, but we are trying to find a way of dealing with what's politically as realistic as possible here." However, this idea has been shot down by some Brexiteers and fishermen who fear the government will again sell out fishing to satisfy the EU.